each time with water, each time try and make the lines more vehement, more stronger, more decisive, because those ripples are decisive. They're not bendy, they're quite striking. And then I'm just going to add a couple here as well, just like some lighter scumbling marks here, so we've got a bit of a bridge between them. Okay, and already it's looking more alive, which is good. Make that a bit brighter, that one. Stop at the water as well, that's another thing. Stop at the water. When you get to this bit where you get in the kind of, yeah, that's it, the sand coming in here, stop there, because that's going to be a slightly different colour. We're going to maybe grey it up a little bit so you to distinguish between the sand and the water. Don't keep using the same pink on the sand. But what we will do, we'll come over here a little bit. Maybe just use some thinner lines coming from the rocks there. Triple lines coming there, because that's still water there. So your mind, your eye reads it as water. Even though it's bright pink, it is water. Because everything relates. Okay. So we'll leave the water again. Make it a bit darker. A bluey sort of colour just there. I'm just going to come under there, so that's relating. But just make sure that's not too bright, because it's more intense. It's more of a pink, but it's not as bright as those other scores. So and it is going into the distance. So. And then we're getting some of these reflections looking nice on the coming from the tree and the bench. Yeah. So I think what we're going to do now, the last things for this session, I think we're going to have a go at doing the rocks on the left hand side. Now, if you look at the rocks, they are quite jagged. I would naturally use a palette knife, but we're not going to on this. So what we're going to do is add more blue. So we're going to detract away from the pink as much. We'll add a bit more blue on this one. It's not going to be completely blue. Again, still purpley blue. And we're going to use stronger colours again, as we are. So we're going into like a purple here now. We've added a hell of a lot more blue. That's created a more a dull tone here, a dull sort of lilac sort of colour. And we're going to create some jagged lines now. I think the important thing is to doing jagged lines. You can use maybe a flathead again. I mostly use round heads for most things, but I think doing something like this, flathead again, creating the jaggedness of those rocks. And again, notice how I'm using my brush there. Probably don't go any further in the distance than there, because I'll probably use a thinner brush for that. But with this kind of medium-sized flathead, I'm going to create some jagged lines there for the rocks coming down. And so the tone difference is important, because you've got the pinks of the water coming in and differentiate the rocks from there. I've mixed a bit more blue and a bit more white to get some more brighter lines in there, because some of those rocks are quite bright. I'm going I'm doing straight lines and jagged lines. So slightly different. I'm not doing some smooth diagonal lines going that way. So for the water ripples, I'm doing more jagged lines. I think it might also help if you want to get some structure and they just curve away the edge of the brush there, some articulate edges there, and maybe make some cross over each other as well. And then you want to go in some mid-tones as well, so a bit of grey, a bit of magenta, or blue. So you can bridge in between those very dark colours of the rocks. You do some in between rocks as well coming in there. So it looks bumpy and generally rocky, that area. Try and be a bit more spontaneous with your marks as well. So it comes across. I'll just go into that thinner brush now. I'll probably just, again, add a bit of that greyish colour from below to create a duller version of that light colour we were using for the rocks on the left. Because this is the distance, and as things go into the distance, obviously they get cooler. So just muddy it up a little bit with the grey, maybe a bit more grey. But it does read as the same light tones going into the distance because we've been following that line of curvature of the rocks. And just notice how I'm flicking. You can't really see everything in the distance, and I'm just flicking the top areas where the light, the light of the rocks being picked out. And then it looks a bit more rocky. Don't use too much of the same colour, probably go into a duller colour. Do some of those darker colours just below those rocks in the distance that bridge into the black. With that same colour, I think we can start doing the rope or the tassel on the between the posts up on the bank here, on the rocks, going into the distance. It's really vague with it. So you already see, which is ideal. And as we've already done the pink on the horizon, we can put in that posts that go over the horizon. Only two, there's one there. There's one about here. And then that's, you can't even see the, you can go for a very light colour maybe, across getting the rope going in between there. And be very careful because you don't want to go in too thick here. You want a colour that's very pinky, which is not going to look too dull up against that horizon pink. And use the tip of your brush, just come across like that, so you just see a very subtle. That's actually too light. Go a little bit darker. it's really thin like that. Really subtle. So you see a little bit something over there, but it doesn't stand out at all too much. Okay, so we're going to leave it there. Probably in the next video I might have a go at doing some midtones of this clouds and things like that, and then the sand. But yeah, I think we're getting there, definitely. I think it's looking a lot more vibrant. It's not going to be as detailed as my normal work, of course, because it's just trying to follow a step-by-step guide, which is, I think an amateur or professional can maybe take some advice from. But yeah, I think next video we're going to go into the sand, maybe do some highlights, and then get some last touch-ups, and then we'll be finishing it